As a college student on May 4th, I remember hearing, as many college students did, news of something in my backyard that was both disturbing and personally frightening. This was before cell phones and the internet. This was a pay phone at the end of the hall in my dormitory, lined up with my floor mates, because we all knew somebody at Kent State. Many of us had been to Washington in the anti-war demonstrations of '68, '69, early '70. Many of us had become politically motivated, expressing our distaste and distrust of government generally, and had cousins, brothers and sisters who lived in dormitories nearby. And so there was, first of all, that uncertainty about what had happened in your backyard. There was the second very raw emotion about how could our government do this to our people. Everything that we know is the culmination of everything we've experienced. I served as a member of Congress representing Kent State University, and I remember in briefings then learning things about my government as a congressman that I would walk out of those rooms saying, I can't believe they did this stuff. I can't believe we know this stuff. Mission Impossible is real. And so when I back that experience of Congress back up to the 1970s, Nixon lying about Cambodia, later finding that conspiracies, as we've later learned in J. Edgar Hoover's FBI, you couldn't appreciate how suspicions that we had in the 1970s became confirmed in the 1980s. But if that's where we leave our lives and don't use those life's experiences to see, well, where's Kent State today? Where is our government today? Where is politics today? Then that tragedy of that day will be just only that, a tragedy, and not a life's lesson, which I think is very important both for the people of my generation, and for the people of this university. Well, May 4th is not just a date. Taylor Hall is not just a place. It's the full embodiment of the energy of a generation spawned in the civil rights, equal rights, human rights, anti-war movement that came to a head in a place that most Americans could not have found on a map on May 3rd. My dad's a Pearl Harbor survivor. I remember as a politician that day, he called me from Cleveland to me in Cincinnati at Xavier and said, "Son, are you okay?" I said, "Dad, they're not shooting at me in Cincinnati." He said, "Well, they're shooting at your friends." And this hard-bitten World War II Pearl Harbor survivor said, "We shouldn't be doing that to our own people." So the lessons of life, whether it's the greatest generation in the Pacific or 40 years after the Pacific or 60 years later, is that the only things we don't know is the history we have forgotten. And that's why preserving the memory of what occurred on May 4th is critical, hopefully, to not repeating those mistakes in the future.